So, hi everyone. My name is Claude Rémiard, and we can talk about anything, but I hope you want to hear about labs because that's what I prepared. So when we think about dev and test environment, basically where lab came from is just that getting dev and test environment sucks. It's really hard. You have a bunch of policies to do. Often you have to go and ask for long wait to get stuff done. You might have to ask a different team to do it. You might have security involved. And basically, you also have a lot of costs related to all your dev and test environment that you have to do. And once you get them, often devs have to spend a lot of time working on them and setting it up and getting them configured the way they need to make them very, very productive and just get on going. But there's good reason behind it, because from an IT perspective, you want to make sure that the environments you create, even if they're for dev and test, that they're secured and that you control your costs and that you don't open endpoints to the internet and all that goodness that needs to happen. So often when you go more traditionally, you have dev and test environments. We got that 65% of devs say it's too complicated to get new environments. So what do? They start hoarding. So if it took you like 3, 4, 5 weeks to get an environment that you have, then you're going to keep it and reuse it and then ask for others and start hoarding them. And in many places we visit, it's a large percentage of all of the dev and test environment, a bunch of VMs everywhere that nobody knows what they're used for, but everybody is afraid to delete them because they might be useful. And actually, when you do a full inventory, you realize, that study, 90%, but 80–90% of dev and test environments are actually not that useful or not used as much. So that's where we came with the idea of Azure Dev Test Labs, which is basically this idea to say, I'm creating that thing, the lab, kind of as an object in between the IT guy and the dev guy. So the logic we have is the IT guy can go and pre-create all the different rules, all the networking, all the policies, and so on and so forth, so that the dev team can go and basically get what they need when they need. So the whole logic there is basically to take kind of try to meet both point of view and making lab just a tool that allows, again, devs to go get what they need and basically provision quickly what they need, automate new versions, automate new disks, automate new environments when you have newer version. Because that's kind of the big difference between infrastructure that's used for running apps. You want it to run all the time. You don't change it as much. But when it's dev and test, every new version, you need to have new environment. You need to redeploy. Like the cycles are faster and faster. So again, you want the devs to be able to test with the latest version. So get it, self-service, automate as much as you want, and again, do it in a context of cost and self-service. So a lot of our thoughts and features and logic around labs is to help doing that. And I'm a new grandpa, so I'm really in a baby phase. Those are not my grandkids, but I'm in that mindset. Who's actually know about labs or actually using labs already in the room? All right, okay, good. Who's looking at labs more for the education side of things versus the dev and test? Okay, all right, okay, that gives a good sense. So what I'll do is I'll kind of focus about a few scenarios behind dev and test, and I'll first clarify complexities I myself created. So you'll hear me use, and you'll see on the website, we talk about Azure Lab Services. The name of the session was Azure Lab Services. I say Dev Test Lab. So here's the story. So we started with Dev Test Lab for developers and testers, and that's what the service name was, and everything was simple and easy. Dev Test Labs, game over. Somewhere along the way over the last few years, we saw a lot of other users and a lot of other scenarios for using labs other than dev test. Classrooms is one example with a lot of universities for either research or for running classrooms. Training shops who needs to set up a lab for a short period, get something installed, get 12 people or 20 people to test on the last thing and then delete the whole thing. So we started doing these, classroom trial, hackathon labs, and demo labs, and so on and so forth. And what we found is that basically the name, when we are looking at all of these, didn't make much sense. So we're in the midst of changing the name to Azure Lab Services. So the idea is that Dev Test Lab will be, once we finish the work to change the names, will be a lab type under the lab service. Also, the big difference is that Azure Dev Test Labs will, as we go forward, we're going to start calling it custom labs, because it's the new labs we're doing, the new lab types are very different. They're fully managed. It's a different UI. They're not necessarily into the Azure portal. So today I'll cover both sides. I'll talk about the new fully managed lab types. I'll talk about the custom labs as well, which is more for development and test, and then the fully managed for all the other scenarios. So that's kind of where the confusion is. So right now we have two websites, two pages, one for labs, one for lab services. They talk to each other, but the goal for us is to remove lab services, change the name. We need to change all the APIs. So there's actual technical work to finish for us to finish our transition. All right. So the first scenario is really this idea of the developer self-service. So that's where a dev can go and it's focused more on VMs. That's what we started with. Usually there's kind of two main scenarios there, two cases. I'm a dev. Instead of having all kinds of different machines for all different dev stacks, I might have one weaker machine on my desk, but then I connect to a VM in the cloud, and that's where I RDP into it, and this is where I punch in my code. This is where I run my builds. This is where I do the work. You can have a faster machine there, and then you can switch. Oh, now I need to go to a Java stack instead of a .NET, or I need to go to something else. You can basically just switch, connect to another DevBox VM. So internally, we call them the dev boxes. One example we have of a company using that a success story that came over the summer. So Shell in the Netherlands, basically you can read it there, but it was, again, for them, one of the big many savings was this ability to have all these blessed disks, VMs, that their dev can go create new VMs with. And when they create a new dev box, it has all the security, it has things installed to it. The basic frameworks that they use for every project is already pre-installed. So basically, the dev then just needs to, and again, they can take it, add their own little thing that their team works on, and then save that as a new template. And then basically, every team member just goes and quickly gets a VM with everything that you need. And if you're smart, you automate it, and you make it available, on a weekly basis or daily basis, and go get the latest builds of the software you want to test, and you do the developer test box as well. So the dev box and the test box are very kind of common scenarios. So in this case, again, they have subcontractors, and themselves, it's thousands of developers, so it becomes significant. So they fully automated the process. So I'll just go over that first example on how basically how you can do something like that in labs. So let me go to the demo side. All right. So okay. So I don't know what just happened. Let me try this. I don't know, it switched to PC screen on its own when I switched from PowerPoint back to the browser. Good automation. So basically I'm in the Azure portal, so I'm hoping, anybody who's new to the Azure portal, that's the first time they see the Azure portal in the room? All right, great, so I won't spend too much time talking about it. So basically, here the logic is we create a lab per team. Every team in the company will have their own labs. The logic we have is we have common things like templates and disks and whatnot, and those could be shared across a bunch of different labs. For example, in the process that we have automated with, in this case, it can be with Azure Automation or Visual Studio Team System, which is now Visual Studio DevOps. or any other automation that you want. The idea is that you build a VM, you install everything on it, you extract the disk, and then you distribute the disk to the different labs. So you basically say, well, lab 5 wants this disk, and lab 9 wants this disk. Usually we drive it through a source control file so that the teams can actually go and subscribe to which templates that they want to have. So it really fully automates who gets what when. All right, so again, the idea is that we're not working with one humongous lab with, I'm not sure I pronounced that properly, but one big lab with 1,000 developers in them. So usually it's 10, 20, 30 developers. They'll have the same thing that they need. So that's what you create. So I'm a dev. I'm in my lab. Who's seeing labs for the first time? So again, similar question than before. Okay, a little over half. So I'll go over. I'll hit the what's you call the big success songs or anyway. So basically, I'm here and as a dev, so I go there, and usually everything my team need is there. So we're thinking about the lab as a team-related thing. So for my team, this is what we have. So at the top here, I have my stuff. So I have a test box, I have a desk box. This one is running. So I could just go and connect to my VM and start working on it. So it's there. I could stop it and restart it and so on and so forth. We also have this logic here at the bottom where we have a claimable VM. So the idea of the claimable VM is we go a step further than just the template disk. But basically what we do is you create the template and you kind of go and say, all right, I'm going to go and create 20 VMs. So the next day, instead of creating a VM from a template, the devs just pick a VM. It's already there. Scenarios we see for that, for example, big bug bashes. You go, all right, tomorrow we have a bug bash. We want the latest version. We're going to create a bunch of VMs. And then next morning, devs, tester, everybody picks up a bunch of VMs and then run the different test scenarios and test cases. The first we were aware was in our own division for Visual Studio bug bashes, right? We go and we have hundreds and hundreds of people, so everything's prepared. So then we test instead of again setting up environment. They're all prepared. This is where kind of in education also it became the thing. I'll talk later, but you can set policies such as you can have only so many VMs in a lab as a user. So again, that creates a cost ceiling on it. You can also limit what you can create. So what we started seeing was some labs with only one image, with users can only get one of them. And after reaching to the customers, we realized those were for classrooms or training, where it made everything very simple for the users. They just went, claimed a VM, didn't go to the create flow, and it made it very simple on that case. So training, we found training of end users on new versions, sales guy who has to demo software, and all these kind of scenarios makes it very easy. So I'll go now and I'll point to a few side things. We have this logic here also of being able to attach data disks to your VM. So you can set up your own disks, attach them to the VM. The idea is that often we went from waiting days to get a VM or weeks to we can get them done in 5-6 minutes. But if it takes 4 hours to get your code on it, or if it takes 8 hours to get your test data on it, our 4 minutes is no longer significant. So the idea there is for code enlistments and data, you can keep to the data disk, and then if you have a new version, you can refresh the VM itself, reattach the disk, and then you can go and get going. If you don't have big code enlistments, it's not an issue, but we found in certain cases that it was. All right, so I'll go and create a new one in the context of where we have dev boxes. So let's say they haven't been pre-created, so I want to add a new VM for me to use, let's say, as a test VM. So when I get there, I get into choosing a base. So for us, we have this notion of base, which is a base on which we're going to create something. So we kind of want a bit generic because we have 3-4 things in there. So the first category, I'll talk into another scenario. Those are full environment with either PaaS services or multiple VMs or basically defined by an ARM template. We'll look at them in more detail. Or I can have pre-made images. So in the case, for example, at Shell, they just go with, say, all right, my team is Fabricam, I need a new dev box. We added a few things throughout the last year. One of them was it will name it for me. It will pick up a default password for me that I can save to reuse. So if that's the standard one for the team, then I just go, yeah, I wanted this test box, and then I create it, and I'm done. So it's really like the one create. And this guy, again, it got prepared. It has everything I need. So that's kind of the super fast, simple scenario. That's where we want to be when we prepare VMs. While I'm in the creation, I'll do a slightly more complicated, where in this case, I don't have an image that was customized centrally for the team, so I need to go create a new one and maybe save it so that everybody else on the team then can do the one-click create. So here, let's say I'll start with, I don't know, one of Visual Studio. So if you notice here, what we have is it's a series of images from the Azure Marketplace. There's hundreds. Here we have 10, 12, or whatnot. So again, one of the features of the lab is to say for this lab, this is the images we want to have available. So that, again, we agreed based on the tech we use, our stack, those are the ones that make sense. So we don't need to sift through everything else. So again, in there, you put a username, password. Here, I'm going to use a safe secret that I have. Again, that helps you from one to the other. And I could be done if I just take the default machine. But often what people want to do is add additional things to it. So we have this concept of artifact, which has kind of been very successful, more than we thought, actually. So the idea is that upon creation of the VM, you can actually say, well, go and add these other things. And these artifacts come from a list. We have an open source repository with them already there, so that you can use. Or you can copy our artifact into your own repository. And for any lab, you can say, well, this lab, go get artifacts, things to install, basically install scripts more or less with a cute wrapper on them. Go point to those private repos. So in this case, for example, the first two are things that my team is working on. So that's our code. So here I want to have, let's say, the last drop of the dashboard to be added to my VM. So by doing this, whoever created that artifact on the team just knows hard-coded where to go get it, and we're done. Another way is to say, for example, we're using Chef. So what I want to do here is just go and basically configure a Chef installation, and I can put the Chef agent, and then basically I can use Chef to do my deployments to them. You'll notice here we have default values. Once you enter all the values, we can keep all of that. So that's kind of how I switch over. So often what teams will do here, I'd skip over these two guys. So we call those formula, which basically means it's a base VM with a base image plus some artifact plus all the attributes, the parameters, filter that artifact, save that as a formula. So if you create from a formula, again, all of that is pre-entered for you. So you just get back to that, two-click create of a somewhat complex environment specifically that is specific to your team's need. So that's kind of the idea there. So you can use the one, and if you look the one in the public artifact, actually, a bunch of them are provided by customers or the Microsoft teams because it's an open source. So we take a submission on it and pull requests, and basically it's been growing over the last 2-3 years, more than we had thought it would. So that's all good. All right. So that's kind of for the dev box or test box scenario for a developer. That's kind of 2-3 ways to do that. So if you think about it, you can start from the marketplace. You can start from the marketplace or the artifact. You can bake that into an image, start from that image, still add more artifact. You can use the ones we have. You can add your own. So up to a point, it makes it very easy then to make sure that when the developer goes and create the VM, they have what they need. So because of that, devs love working with it. The other thing that they like and where it makes sense is that, and I'll just go back to the beginning. So the other aspect is to make sure that, yeah, when we create in the lab also, there's a bunch of configuration. We go for that lab to help from the IT side to make sure that these VMs, the devs decide what goes on it, but the context of the VM from an infrastructure perspective is something that you set as a configuration or a policy. And then we have multiple roles that we can have on these labs. So now I basically just clicked on the configuration side. So usually that's a separate role. It's the either IT admin or dev manager, or basically the person who worries about make sure we configure where things come from and costs and so on. I won't click on everything because it might take a bit of time, but towards the end I have a good period for Q&A. We can come back, and if you have specific questions, we can go and go over them. But so here I'll go quick on that whole section, which is basically max number of VM per user that we can have, max number of VM per lab, and also which type of VMs are available in there. So the sizes, basically, we just go over the full list, and you can whitelist which sizes. Which again, every size has its cost. So if you say I have that many user, that many VM max, that size is the biggest, you basically just create a ceiling from your spending. So you cannot spend over that. For example, in this case, these are the 3 sizes available. So when I created, whatever formula you do or whatnot will be limited to those 3 sizes. Another thing that I kind of brush quickly, but everything in the lab, we accumulate the costs, and then on that cost, you can, a certain percentage, at certain trigger, you can send emails to basically notify the team or the owner, the financial owner of the lab, saying, hey, that lab looks like we're going to overspend this month. It can be month-based, it can be project-based, again. So that's helping you with seeing if you have spikes, and then the logic is go talk to the team or for the team themselves to look at it. What we see a lot is the dev teams make sure they stay within so they don't have the conversation. Like the best conversation from a dev side to have about cost of resources is no conversation. So we see a lot of self-policing on the teams happening in that case. So I won't wait for everything to load, but basically it gives you all resources and who owns it and how much it's spending and so on and so forth as part of that spend. We added a couple of other things to help from the central lab perspective. Because you prepare stuff for your dev teams, you can put central announcements. So we've just created a new image, or this image will be retired, or so on and so forth. So when they get in the lab, they get a notification that basically comes from the central owner of the lab. So that's a good way to do that. We find it's usually companies who have many labs. They'll set them up once, either to the API or basically automates setting all of them so that the teams are aware of it. You can also set where to contact, who to contact, and so on for internal support. Usually, we don't want them to call Microsoft first. Is why is this not available or that? Usually, they go a first step. So we added that to as a first step to the lab for the people who own the lab. Key features we added. Pretty much from the beginning, auto start, auto shutdown. Auto shutdown is obviously where it has a ton of value. So you can set an auto shutdown. Everybody who forgets their VMs, they will get shut down. We see a lot of 7 p.m. or whatnot. So the idea is that, again, it saves on that. You can set a notification that you get that says, hey, we're about to shut you down. You have half an hour to snooze it, and then you'll keep it. You can extend an hour or 2 hours. So auto shutdown, again, in the sum total of the cost, it really reduces a lot. Specifically the Friday night auto shutdown, if it's not used for the weekend, it's a very, very good feature. We also added it to any Azure VM. So if you go on Azure, you create a VM, you'll see our blade there. So it's basically the same code behind. It's our service that does the auto shutdown. The difference is here you set it for the whole lab. When there's a new VM, it inherits the auto shutdown, auto start setting. On Azure, everybody needs to think about go and setting it up. So that's kind of the advantage to doing it here. It's set, and basically you need to make an effort to remove it or to change it. All right. I'll skip these guys. This one is an important one. Who's from the IT side in the room? All right, okay, so that's usually the question one of the core questions from IT. So the way it works for VNets is we create, by default, when we create a lab, we create a default VNet. That comes with it. However, you can actually pre-create VNets and just go here in the lab and add additional VNet that are already existing and remove the one we created by default if you want. So that what we see a lot is, for example, creating a VNet, putting the express route on it or some other gateways, and then basically just saying, yeah, this lab uses that VPN. So when the devs create things, they don't need to be network conscious. They just create a VM in their lab. Their lab is already in the right VNet, and they can only do it in the right VNet. So that removes all these issues. And again, and that's how we get with connectivity to on-prem with ExpressRoute. So if you have ExpressRoute, then from the VM you connect in the cloud, you have access to everything on-prem, which becomes, again, very, very powerful as an overall solution. I'll skip quickly over these. Marketplace is where you whitelist the ones we see. Yes? Yes, so the question is, can the lab be connected by ExpressRoute? So yes, the lab uses the VNet, and if the VNet has an ExpressRoute connection itself, then that's what the lab uses. So the lab doesn't give you ExpressRoute, the lab uses ExpressRoute. Yes, and you just go here, add that VNet to the lab. So you just go and add it. We also have an additional feature you see there if you allow IPs and public-private IPs, and you can set policies per subnets. So again, so we have quite a lot of capabilities there if you mix it with ExpressRoute, if you mix it with what is already existing there. Yeah, so I think I talked quickly about Marketplace. So it's just whitelisting the ones. As we saw, there was just a subset. So here it's really just a list of Marketplace. You click the ones you want available in the lab. Custom image will give you all the custom images that you've created in that lab so far, either automatically or manually. And then your list of formula. And then we have public environment and repository that I kind of skipped. I'll just go back to put them in context of a different scenario. So the public environment comes from, let me go back here. Hopefully it won't break everything. All right. So we have a second scenario that we've been seeing quite a bit lately, which are sometimes called playgrounds or dev landscapes or sandbox or whatnot, but basically it's the idea that we give the devs a resource group in Azure through the lab. So they go to the lab and they have an environment. So we call them environment. Behind the scene, really, it's a resource group to which we give them the security. So they have security just to that resource group. And then the devs can go and install things in that resource group. So they do all of that, and basically, as they add more things, they can configure it. They can have these resource group available in the lab, visible to everybody on the team. Also, we track all the costs on them, so that you can track with them, and you can start with a list of some of these pre-done. So if you want the devs, when they work on this type of thing, let's say SQL Azure, then you could have a SQL Azure environment already predefined into an Azure Resource Management template, which is kind of ARM. Azure Resource Manager is the way we define environments in Azure. So those are actually can be put in source control. So our strategy is really to allow you to go in source control, predefine environment, and then have the dev just create environments in their labs, and then work with them. They can connect with them, and so on and so forth. What we added a couple of months ago, maybe a month, six weeks ago, is the same thing. We added an open source repository that is public of environments. So now when you create the lab, we basically have these environments that you can activate, that devs could create, or you might want to shut it down and say, no, we have our own, or we only want to use VMs, not any of these environments. So that's kind of where where it's coming from. So for example, Daimler, we've been working for Daimler from pretty much day one. They've been using this model quite a bit for, again, they don't do a lot of VMs. They're pretty much a PaaS shop. And they've been using those sandboxes as a way for a developer to get them. One of the advantages is that don't need to give them subscription. So the subscriptions are there, they're controlled, they're managed by IT, they're secured, and so on and so forth. So when you think about it, the environment, the sandbox is really kind of a tiny slice of Azure that they can use. And in that environment, in that resource group, they can go and configure and create what they want. And then we can track the costs and the security around it. So if I go back to the software itself, will I lose it again? All right. Not yet, okay. All right, I'll just start from the top on that one. So here we're in this idea where what I want to give, again, I forgot to mention, the other case we have for environment also is if you need a bunch of VMs together. So SharePoint group of VM for SharePoint development. So again, PaaS or a multi-VM context inside of a network and talking together and all of this. Environment, you define them in ARM. You can take a prod environment, extract the ARM template, and then use that in your labs also, which is kind of very useful. So one of the example here is I have one already created. So if you look here, the icon is different, so that's the environment icon. So it's a bunch of things that we have. So if I click on it, I actually get into the regular resource group management blade from the rest of Azure. So really it's and then from there, you have, in this case, it's an app service and so on and so forth. You can connect to them. You have, you have all the same endpoints, and you just use them as you would use directly in Azure. Except, again, I did not need to have security over the whole subscription to be able to go create and so on and so forth. So it really kind of helps limit that to that slice of environment where I have rights. So to create a new one, I'll just click properly. All right, so again, we're going with all the different types of bases that will come up. So it's these guys here. And here you notice I have these three. Those come from my private repo. Those come from our company. Sorry, I shouldn't do that too much. And then those two come from the Microsoft open source repo. So those are the two. So for example, let's say if I want to create this guy, so I want an ISVM with a SQL server, then I need, give it a name, put username and password I'll need on that, number of services, and any prefix I want to add in there. So for each of these, the parameters we set in there are very, can get complex or simple depending on what the template author created. So in certain cases, we see what they do is they hard code everything, or you can put them into a parameter file. So you have the ARM template and a parameter file to go and pre-fill them. But the idea there is that, again, you can leave it more open or less. Ours are usually, we don't know much of the values in advance. And one detail also that we've done for VNet specifically, we have it as a special world in that we can use as parameters where we say the lab VNet. And so what it does is when we create, the author of the template doesn't need to know which VNet. It's basically, it tells us to use the VNet of the lab, again, so that so again, you can make sure that whatever is created is in the right VNet. So again, some practical things. So here, let's say if I go, let's say docdb, same thing. So again, I'm going to have all the information I need to provide for it and put it there. Or if I do it internally, I can pre-populate these into my ARM template so that the team just goes and do them. Again, it's source control. If it's in your own source control, you can open up who can modify it, who can do a submission, a pull request, and accept it. So it makes it very easy to distribute the usage for every team so that they can work off of it. So I said I'd come back to where we were. Let me just go back to the configuration. All right. So this is pretty much the pieces that I've skipped was for that. So when we go on the repository, this is where you go define, these are the repos that I have. So we can do a GitHub or Visual Studio source control as options in there. And then you can just enable, disable them. The one that comes by default, the environment, again, starts on a new lab, it's enabled, you can go and disable them and pick them. The other thing we added was here in the public environments, this is new from a couple of weeks ago, where you can, again, this is our current list, it's open source, so if you want to go submit some, we're taking submission, but basically for that specific lab, you whitelist which of these are applicable to that specific lab. And the last thing we have on that, which again is I know I'm getting a little technical, but is this ability here, when we create these environments, there's two settings right now. Is you can set up for that lab that the user just gets the environment, everything is created, but they cannot go and modify them. So they can say, okay, great, but now I want to change I want to go to the SQL blade and change my SQL Azure settings. So in that case, you would just put them to reader, or you can give them contributor to what's in there, where they can go add, modify, and basically they have the rights to modify what's in that environment. So that's another option. All right, so that's scenario number 2. And I'll just try and go back here. Here, one of the thing I wanted to mention at least is a specific, yes?
How do you manage different versions of environments?
So the question is, how do you manage different versions of environments? We don't, you have to. So in your source control, you'll have the different source control ones that you have, and you have to decide which one you merge to the main branch. That's what will show. So, and those you created, again, you need to name them differently if you want to, let's say, keep 2 completely different versions. Because what we do is we'll just redeploy over. It's, ARM is basically kind of versionless to a certain point. But you can do it either through nomenclature or through source control. But we don't have it as a first-class citizen of that version versus that version. One of the thing also that we can do with labs, I mentioned a lot about creating environments, creating images. So we basically added a lot of tasks to go with Azure DevOps pipelines, which used to be Visual Studio Team System Pipelines, which got renamed or is about. And basically, so you have all of these already there in the box. So you can go and add them and basically, so that's the idea of using what we're saying, either sandboxes or dev boxes or test boxes as part of a pipeline. So that you can go from your pipeline, deploy to them directly, create them, or use a pipeline to automate the creation of all your templates and images. So those are kind of two patterns we see very often. All right. So we're going to switch to gear a little bit, talk about the new scenarios we started working on a little earlier this year, and the people who are more interested in education. Thanks for being patient. So here we're looking at actually simplifying even further the end user experience for using resources in a lab and making the job of the resource, the lab creator, a lot easier. So in this scenario, we're going to have a teacher or assistant or a teacher providing a lab to their student, or a trainer providing a lab to their student. So what we found is, you know, there's a lot of learning behind on Azure. So if you have an IT team that's there to set up everything for you, that's okay. But after that, every time you need a new lab, getting a lab itself now starts to be kind of the next limit. So we're trying to address that in that context. Pretty much what is on that slide. So what I'll do is I'll just go into the lab perspective. So what we did is we created this offering, again, Azure Lab Services, as I was mentioning, that now allows fully managed lab. So the idea is with that, you go to labs.azure.com. It's live. It's in preview right now. And then from there, you can go sign in and start creating VMs. There's kind of 3 steps in there, though, that you need to do. We cannot get away completely of everything. So you need an Azure subscription, so that's step 1. So somebody needs to provide an Azure subscription. Often that will come from IT, or somebody will put their own credit card. So somebody needs a credit card and create that. Then we have a concept of lab account. That's the only thing we have in the portal. This is where the billing will go. And then from there, once we start creating labs, then the labs themselves are created into the simplified UX. So again, it's more the idea of central management. We'll still create the lab account once for the organization, and then there's a couple of policy choices. The most important is giving rights to people to go create labs. So that's the main thing that we're going to do there. And then basically we can go and create the different labs. So I'll go in more as a teacher in that case. All right. So if I get in there right now, I just went to Azure Lab Services as a teacher. I skipped the login, so I logged in earlier. But basically, once you log in, we take MSA account, or so any Microsoft account or AAD to log into the system. And then from there, you have a number of different labs that you can have. So let's say I want to create a new lab. I have a new class to give. So I'm going to go and, I just need to refresh. I did it too early. Thank you. So there's something to be said about over-preparing. All right. So basically, so after a certain time, you get logged off automatically, and you have to log back in. So here, I'm a teacher. Again, what I want to do there is just get myself a lab going. So let's say here I'm going to call it, Classroom 101. I have 3 choices of VMs to pick. I have a sense of this is the cost that I will have, roughly the number of cores and sizes that I will have for them, like an indication of the size. So let's say I'm going to go with small is fine for now. We're going to default a region that comes from the lab account you're building that with. And then you're going to pick a basic image to start from. Let's say, in this case, I'm going to go with CentOS. The idea is that list, again, is a sublist that at the centrally once at the lab account level will go. Very similar to what we do in other labs. So centrally, we'll pick a subset. So in my universities or in my organization for my sales guy, this is the ones that are available. And the logic here is we try to keep them short and clear. And then you need to set the credential the end users will have on first time they connect. Then you can make them change it, but when they first connect, they're going to have. So let's say It's gonna, I don't know, the default user will be student, and you set a password to, and let me confirm. And then from there, it's probably I mistyped something. But basically, once you hit those, you click save, and then we'll go and create the lab. I'll skip that step. It takes a few minutes for the following reason. So what we do is we create a lab, and in that lab, we create one VM. That's the teacher's VM. We call it the template VM. So basically, they get one VM that is created. So this initial creation gets us into a waiting where we say, go grab a coffee. It's going to take, 5, 10 minutes. But we create the lab with that one VM. So once that VM is created, I'll just go into an existing lab. So I'm pulling out my baked cake. So they get brought into the lab itself, and this is where they do have that one VM that's created. And then the teacher can just go connect to it, install what they want, configure it. Often they'll put things on the desktop, some instructions, and so on and so forth, so that it will work for the student the way the student need them. And then basically, once they get in there, they can also set up a policy that's the number of students I will have in that environment. So in this case, I have 5 students or 50 students or 500. But the idea is that we just say this is how many VMs I'll need to have on it. So once I've configured what I needed, I've defined the number, then basically this guy's already published, but you publish the lab. So what we do at the publish state, there's a message that says it's going to take you a bit of time, but we create all the VM, and the VMs are pre-created and waiting. Then we can send an invite to the students. So when the student gets the invite, when they connect to actually, here's the user registration that you can send them. You can send them through an email. You can write it on the board if you want to do it last minute. But basically, so I'm just copying it, and I'll put it into a browser, let's say similar to if I received just the link and clicked on it. So as the end user, when I'm getting there, I'm logging into the system. So that's the student view of the world. So in this case, I have a VM. I'm in 3 classes. So each of these classes gave me a VM. So the student doesn't think in labs. They don't care. They go to the service from the school, and these are the 3 things available to them so that they can run on it. And then from there, they can start the VM, connect to it, do the work, do the class, do the homework and whatnot, and then basically shut it down once they're done. So a lot of what we've done, kind of that layering, is so that this experience is very, very simple. We've had some issues trying to get non-IT student into the portal, and they quickly lose themselves a little bit in there. So the idea is really, really keeping on the simplicity. What's about to be added, I hope to have it this week, but I think it might be in the short term. I won't commit dates from the dev team, but it should be short. So we're going to have an extra line here that's going to show you the number of hours you're allowed and how much you spent on your quota. So that's kind of one of the core features for this. So that on the lab, you'll be able to say this is the quota for that lab, and we'll track every student. And then at the end of the quota, we shut it down, and they cannot start it again. And yes, we'll probably add a way for a given student to get an extension. The teacher will decide, but that's kind of the idea. So you can fit a number of hours. So we see that, again, I'm using universities and classrooms and teachers because we've been working with a number of them. But we also have trial scenarios. So I'm a software company. I want somebody to use my software. This is a very easy way to focus on the accounting software, not on Azure or the portal or the 29 steps to get there. They just go labs.azure.com. They get there. They have one box, start, connect. That's it. Sales guys, same thing. Start, connect, they get to their VM, and they have the VM with the software. So the idea is that the part about the lab, the infrastructure, and all of that, we just make it really, really simple. We take it away from there. And even the lab creator itself, the lab owner, doesn't need to actually the notion we try to remove from them is the idea of the subscription. Do I have enough room in my subscription? Do I need to create into another one? So behind the scenes, what we have is we have a number of subscriptions pre-created. This is where we create the VM. So we create a logical lab, and then we go and put them in where we have space in the backend. So that allows us also to go to wider labs. So we're starting to look at, scale testing labs where you can go and create, let's say, 4,000 VMs and then delete 4,000 VMs. We can do that because we can spread across a lot of the subscriptions behind the scenes. So those are kind of the scenarios we're going with that. So things you can do with there is then you can see your list of VM. Again, I don't have the most interesting lab. I just myself got and picked a VM. But you can see who came in, took the invitation, and picked it up. You can also track the users themselves. You can delete them. We're adding very shortly the ability to import a list of users so that, again, when you give the code, but the user also we validate is he in part of the list or not, so that they can get access to the lab to really limit access to the lab. And again, user setting that's the quota that's coming. And I'll just go back to the PowerPoint. And again, one of the other, all right, so one of the other feature, again, this one is very much for classroom type labs, is this idea of being able to set up time of the day to say, 9 to 10, I need all the VMs to be created. So we'll start them up ahead of the class. So when people at 9 gets there, the VMs are there, they're running. At 10, we're going to start shutting them down. Same thing the next day and on the different schedule. Which brings me kind of to if you look, what we're conscious of, we see all these different types of labs. We have all these features. So one of the things we're looking in our roadmap is to really add the concept of lab type as a primary thing. So when you will go and you create new lab, we're going to say, well, what type of lab do you want? If it's a classroom, we'll include the schedule, we'll include the quotas. If it's a different type of lab, let's say a testing lab, then we might look at which artifacts you want and so on and so forth, so that we kind of make these artifacts a little clearer. Our thoughts is to use source control to define the what's in and what's not on a type. So the concept of type, I have it actually something that people can contribute and add new lab types to the service. Again, by pick and choosing which features we have. So this is pretty much what I had prepared. Again, as I mentioned, I wanted to keep a lot of time for a Q&A at the end. So if you want to start with classroom labs, it's labs.azure.com. DevTest Labs, you can go to azure.com. You'll find DevTest Labs. I forgot to show one thing, actually, before. Yeah, I'm sure I would forget something. I did. Let me. Where did I put it? Okay, so I'll just go here. So I'll just quickly show the lab account that I talked about, so that you get a sense. Because when you go to the portal right now, you can create either a DevTest lab or a lab account. The idea, later we're going to go, well, you create a lab account in lab service. From there, you'll create either a custom lab, which is current DTL, or any of the other lab types that will be fully managed. But right now, we kind of have two tracks, DevTest lab on its own and lab service on its own. So again, as we mentioned, here basically what you can do is add your lab creators, and then specify, which marketplace images are available in the lab. Upcoming features we have will be, right now, what does small, medium, large means in a specific lab type will allow you to specify those. So again, you can see a lot of things where we picked up and we're surfacing piece by piece things we have available in the backing DTL labs there. with the idea of, again, keeping it very straightforward and simple for the end users, like the students or the trial person or the teacher. That's it. That's the part I had forgotten. And before I turn it over to question, just want to remind everybody to do an evaluation. Specifically, if you thought it was good, please do one. Yeah, so that's it. So we have mics available for questions. Yeah.
Are there any plans? Are there any plans to make formulas shared among multiple DevTest Labs instances?
To make what shared?
Formulas themselves, or even maybe the images, so I don't have to. So currently today, whenever I have multiple
labs, yeah.
And so whenever I spin up a new lab, I have to recopy the disk over to that lab and create a new image off of that. And I didn't know if there's an easier way to share one image among multiple labs. So if I make one change, I don't have to copy it to multiple labs.
So I'll answer two ways. So the currently right now is really to use an automation to distribute them. And what we see often is, yeah, basically you put into a file the image name, and then basically for which lab you want it to have it. And then you can have your automation just read the JSON file and say, okay, image 1 goes to lab 5 and 9, image 2. So that will reduce, making sure instead of having every images in every lab, you can reduce that. And if you put it in source control, the teams can go and tweak it on their own if they want to. But we are looking at doing a central image gallery that the labs will go from with an image bakery. We'll see this week. I think there'll be announcements in other sessions, I think, or there's work happening in there. And there's work happening more at the platform level that we'll take advantage of. So that's something that over the next months we should solve collectively as Azure. We should make it a lot much better.
Okay, and I got another question on the Azure Lab Services. Is there any, I guess right now whenever you have to do the registration link for the person to be able to gain access to that?
Right.
Is there any plans to, let's say, do Azure, like an AD group for access instead? So
when I said yes, good question. So for the users themselves, we're going to let you add users to the list, like either upload a CSV file, and one of the options is to add an AD group in there. So the way we think about it is we have kind of, the link is a way to make the person aware to come to the lab. It simplifies it. So the link will still be there. And then the next one is say, oh, but wait, not because somebody has a link means he has rights. So the right will be defined by being a part of either the AD or the list that you've typed in or imported in. But we're going to kind of separate those two. So currently right now is if you know the lab exists, you can access to it with the link. We're going to close that. It's, again, it's very preview as a feature right now on that sense.
Thank you.
All right. Cool. Yes?
So you talk about with the images and everything, and I get that. Excuse me. But what about being able to manage and PaaS services and stuff, and to be able to say they can open up or create new PaaS services or access PaaS services in different sizes and different configurations? Is that going to be something that's available?
So right now we have, I'm not sure because all the services move very much. So right now we kind of have either you preset it for them as a different template, and if you say, well, I want to limit them on the sizes of things, then you give them a few templates as a few options in your source control, and they can pick which one, but then they cannot modify it. So that would be that reader access. They pick one, they can use it, but they cannot fully configure it. The other way is to just let them say, well, you create it, but you have contributor, so they can go and modify it, but then we don't have lab-specific policies of what they can change or not. However, so the plan is for us to use the Azure Policy Engine a little more clearly. So it should work already, but but we don't show it, it's not visible or whatnot. So we might do a bit what we've done with VNet, at least our thoughts, where we'd say, yeah, here's the policy set I want you to apply. But we're just going to use the Azure policies that are available.
Thank you.
Last thing also, I think we're going to add more. The only thing I think we're going to keep as a lab-only policy is the same way we count the number of VMs a person can have. So we're looking at having number of environment of that type you can have. So you can have this one, but only one or only two, for example.
I was going to ask the same question there, but also we use a lot of custom roles, and so we would find it really useful to be able to, because we deploy our DTLs via ARM templates. Every team gets consistency between them, and we update announcements and everything.
Okay.
Now, when they would go ahead and submit a custom deployment with a template of their own to light up PaaS services, for instance, it'd be really useful if instead of just reader or contribute, we could actually put in somehow one of our own custom role definitions.
Okay. Because we do have the request from some on the advisory board, and it's fairly high in the backlog to add what's the next one, above contributor, so that you can actually give rights to other people, to your environments, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. So in relation or in how we've been getting around this is we've just been provisioning people one resource group or one dev test lab, right? And then it's linked to our network, and they can get to it from our internal.
Right.
But then they also get just a resource group with a custom role definition, and so then they put all their PaaS services in their resource groups. So they can interact with them directly. But it would be nice if their landing could really be dev test labs.
So stay at the end. I'll take your email. I'll take the request, and it would be nice. We'll try to double click on it maybe on a conversation, because it hasn't been asked, the custom role, but I'd like to understand more. It's the type of thing that usually is not crazy difficult to do, but we just need to think through implications more than anything else. Yes.
So mine's gonna be really easy. So this first I've seen labs. I'm the infrastructure guy that gets the request to build VMs for the developers. Right now I've got a template and I just roll out a new VM, right? Where's a good place to go to kind of get a start on the first lab, other than the review you just gave us here?
I think probably the best way it would be to start, just go onto the Azure.com, get to the portal, and then create your first lab. We have lots of documentation, and if you want, I can take your email or take mine, and we can also do one-on-one support if you need. But usually, like, trying it, and the thing is, DTL needs you to understand Azure itself. Like, we're built on top of Azure, so if you don't understand resource groups and subscriptions and subscription limits, that's where we find a lot of the learning is. And once you understand the basic of Azure, then the lab is not that complicated. Again, there's lots of little things, but so I would start there.
So I think that answers my question, because I have those pieces. So I was wondering how you put all those together, because right now, you build the VM and you got to add all the other stuff to it, and here, it's all done for you.
No, the key is it switches you from, instead of creating VMs for people, you create templates and artifacts, and you let them create their VMs, and everybody, usually everybody is a lot more happier that way. Yes.
You showed a little bit of the artifacts before, which looked like they were kind of standard clients and things that you could add to your images. So I work in higher education, so we have a lot of custom, lab Mathematica, SAS, and software packages like that. How do you, I'm assuming there's some abstraction to what is being shown there, but how do you, if you wanted to do like a kind of a custom software package, how do you create that and add that and use it in lab? I don't know if this is intended to be kind of like a full fat VDI type of a thing, but
it's not meant necessarily as a VDI, but we made it easy to install software, and I'll just go show it to you quickly. Let me. Let me go here. So basically, the idea is that the artifact itself, I'll just go into the list. One thing I forgot to mention is we added this concept of mandatory artifact, where you can say this artifact gets installed on everything, and we just installed it. So more network and security related. So I'll just go into, let's say, the public repo here. Here we can actually go to the repository itself. So this is kind of where what the artifacts are, is really, it's all of these guys. Let's say, for example, to install Windows 7 zip on there, we have a PowerShell that will just the PowerShell, which is your installer that you would have, that you would run yourself. Could be anything else, but we see a lot of PowerShell on the Windows side. And then you just define that little JSON file for us to know where to point. So basically, you give us this file as a pointer, so it's a little small.
So for the application makers who are used to making things with custom MSI files and things like that, they've got a specific configuration for a particular package. They would need to adapt their knowledge into sort of...
Or just invoke the MSI install. Like you just need the PowerShell command to just, or a bash, or a CLI. So you just need to, be able to have a way to script your install, right. Which usually is fairly common. And then to put in our stuff, you just come here and you say, yeah, here's the icon we see in the UI. Here's the tag, so it's going to show in 7-zip on this search. Who's the publisher? And then basically, here's the command to execute to install it. And again, it's a bit on you also to make sure that your software is at a place where we have access to. Sure. So we have the rights. So that's why when we create the repo in the software itself, you need to give us the credentials. We keep them they're stored in a key vault, so they're secret. But basically, so that we can go and get them and install them on the target machine.
Thank you.
All right.
This is probably a basic question, but if I have to bring up the dev lab of some kind, then I have to sort of sequence, bringing out the multi-domain forest, and I have to get the root up first before I get the subdomain. How do I sequence all that? I guess the installation of those.
Right. Right, so the question is, if what I'm creating is a bunch of VMs or on a VM I have a number of things that needs to be sequenced specifically and whatnot. So I didn't show it, but when you add artifacts, we actually go in the sequence you tell us. And you have a way in the list of artifacts that we're going to install, you can just drag and drop one on top of the other. So in the case it's artifact on a VM, on a one VM, you can sequence them. The moment you get into multiple VMs, then you have two choices. Either they're very independent and say, I'm going to create VM1, I'll create VM2, I'll create VM3, and I'm going to have artifacts that will make sure, when I install the parameter that they're in the same VNet and all this. Or you can go to an ARM template. So for more complex, you'll go to the ARM template where the ARM will define all the details, and instead of creating the VMs, you'll create an environment which will contain the VMs. When the VMs are contained in the environment, we still do the cost tracking, shutdowns, and all this. It's just that instead of seeing in my VM in the list, they're on the environment, you explode it, and then you see the 1 or 2 VM under, and then you can connect to them. So it depends on your ability to script or not. Ideally, ARM template is probably for more complex, multi-step. But we do have artifacts. I go to the list, which is restart the VM. We have a no-op artifact that allows you to, just address the VM. You can install whatever your deployment tool is on top of it, and so people kind of do them. If it gets really complicated, that's why we go with a chef or just use us to do the VM, do the basics, like the first layer, and then the other more complex layer. You could also go to a more complex environment. Not sure I'm giving you a super clear answer, but it depends what the complexity is per se. All right. Any other questions? All right, I will stop here. Thank you, everyone.